In this video, we're going to see the 3 common mistakes people make while touring and how to solve them. If you find that you expend too much energy when touring and you're often out of breath, chances are that you're making at least one of the 3 mistakes I will share with you in this video. And for those of you who are already accomplished backcountry skiers, I'll show you a technique that is guaranteed to make you even more efficient. Your friends will wonder how you are able to move so effortlessly, even in difficult terrain. So notice that in the scene, I'm often alone, but I'm never alone. There's always a cameraman, obviously, and also somebody that's helping. So we're a group of 3. That's the minimum I recommend you traveling, is groups of 3 people. All right, let's start with mistake number 1. So the first mistake we see is lifting off the ski on every step. To solve this, I call this the efficient stride. So there's many steps to do it right. The first thing you need to do is take big, long strides. It's really hard to lift the leg when you're taking big, long strides. Also, the theory says that you spent most of your energy transferring your weight from one step to the other. So making big strides just allows you to make fewer steps. There's limits to that. If you feel that those big strides are creating unbalances because of the terrain or the snow quality or whatever, just go back to your normal strides. But in general, I will try to make big strides. There are 2 scenarios to navigate the terrain. You can break trails or you can follow an existing skin track. So following a skin track is usually a lot less strenuous. This is where not lifting the ski will really pay off. So there's always going to be a small lift from the ski, but I'm really focusing on trying to glide the ski as much as possible. So in the second scenario, I need to break the trail. So breaking trail can be strenuous, but at the same time I feel it's so much fun. Because for once, you can just try to glide the ski tip out of the snow on every step. This will really help you glide on the surface and not submarine every step. So try that. Every step, you kind of lift the knee up for your tip to go out of the snow. So, and then gliding on the surface. Depending on different factors like the skis, the snow quality, sometimes the tip don't want to pierce the top layer of the snow and your ski will start to submarine. So if this happens, you need to take your time, maybe do repeated steps, push on the heel to get the tail of the ski deeper in the snow so it's going to change the angle of the tip. So there's many different ways, there's just not one that works all the time. Mistake number 2. Going too steep. All right, so while moving in the backcountry, we want to be the most efficient possible. And there's a recipe for that. I will choose an angle to go and I will try to keep it like the same angle the whole time. That angle needs to move me uphill, but not to be like so strenuous that it really kills my leg and my breath. So sometimes you need to go around obstacles. You have the choice of going like steeper or going around and losing some elevation. Most of the time, because we've spent so much energy going up, we want to go to the hardest route, but it's a lot more efficient to just lose a bit of elevation and go back around. So try to keep this same angle at the same time, and if you can't, see if you can just go around the obstacles. And there's always exceptions. Sometimes you just don't have a choice. You have to go to the hardest part. But if you can avoid it, it really in the during the day, in the long term, it will save you energy. So here, instead of going up here, I'll move around and lose a bit of elevation. So my objective is to go on that knob here And I'm not gonna go straight up. I'll keep my same angle of climbing and go around to hit the top of that little knob. Follow the terrain. Change the angle of your skis whenever you need to. Here you see that we're avoiding the straight line that really changed the angle and it becomes too steep, and instead we're going around and following the terrain curves. In this example, you're going to see me go around this little hump. It's a lot more efficient than trying to go straight into it. It makes a longer route, but it really saves energy. This is what I call the path of least resistance. So going up too steep of an angle is more strenuous, obviously, but also I have to angulate my body across the slope so I don't get to slip down. So yeah, this awkward angle is not so comfortable. Right, sometimes I just don't have a choice. I have to go steep. And for this little short little bit, I have to go steeper than I'd like to. So for this part, I will use my climbing risers, and I will also use my hips and move them forward. One of the mistakes that we see very often is people will bend down and crouch their upper body, and this tends to create more slipping from the skins than if you try to keep it straight, moving your hips forward into the slope. And you can arch your back, or as I like to say, put my butt out. So I'm really putting my butts out and moving my hips forward. Another thing is the poles. When it's getting steeper, I will put my hands at the top of the pole and get them really close to my hips. And also move them in small increments and then make small strides for the last push. Mistake number 3, climbing risers. So this is the mistake that even most advanced ski tourers do. So avoid using the risers the most possible, or if you use them for the least amount of time. This takes some practice, but it really changes the way you're gonna see the terrain. So this is another situation where I have to use the climbing risers. And although this is not something I like to do, sometimes you just don't have a choice. So here is too steep and I need them. Also, I like to point out that some people are just not as flexible from the calves and that they'll need them more than others. But if you can not use them, it will enable you for a bigger stride at every step, thus saving energy. So traveling with friends, you're gonna see that most people tend to use the risers too much. And this is my group, and you're gonna see that most people left their risers up for this flat part. This is because we were in a succession of steep parts and flat parts. And people are lazy and don't wanna take the time to flip the risers on and off. To correct the mistake, give yourself some time to skin without using the risers. And when you really can't make it, because it's too steep, use your risers sparingly. This skill takes some getting used to. It will, however, significantly help you on long climbs. So at the top of that hill, you're gonna see I will lower the risers again because I don't need them. Mine are ones that you just need to tap with the poles. There's different systems out there. So yeah, make sure that you feel confident playing around. And some bindings, it's not easy to play around, so use the least amount possible again. All right, bonus mistake. A lot of time I will hear stories about ski tourers that went and found an old skin track, and they were like, well, we found that old skin track and it was really icy and it was too steep and we followed it and it was terrible. And why? You know, you're backcountry skiing. If you find an old skin track that's comfortable, that's saving you energy, follow it. But if it's not, then just make your own. You know, that's why you're backcountry skiing. Right, so to recap, make sure that you make long strides, that you're trying to glide the ski the most possible without lifting them. If you're breaking trails, make sure that you lift the knee and that you're gliding the ski on the surface. You should follow the terrain and change the angle of your skis to always be in the same angle of ascension. Choose a path of least resistance and go around obstacles such as humps or windlaps. Don't be afraid to lose some elevation. It will save you much more energy than trying to force your way up. If you have to go steep, don't bend down, keep your back straight and move your hips forward. If the ski tip doesn't want to come out of the snow, make repeated steps, push on the back of the ski so that the tail can sink. Avoid using climbing risers. And if you are going to use them, make sure it's for short periods of time and that you're going to put them back down as soon as possible. These are the most common mistakes I see people do while touring. I really hope you've enjoyed the video. If you did, you can leave a comment below. Ask any question, we'll answer them. You can check our website for courses that we offer. It's GOLH.tv. This is Rene Martin. Until next time, cheers. Hey, you still there? You can leave a comment, like, subscribe to our channel. It really helps.